I know as you start working with sponsors, I think they think their problem is, hey, I need more leads. But when we were chatting, it makes it sound like the real issue is what happens after the lead comes in. What are you seeing on your end?
I would definitely say that they need help finding leads. That's for sure. And I don't think that the expectations associated with what needs to be done with those leads has been properly set for most real estate sponsors. And what do I mean by that? Most of the real estate game, when it comes to these bigger deals, especially, were funded by high net worth and institutional investors. And when I bring the word institutional into this game, we're talking about large seven, eight, sometimes nine-figure checks that would end up in the pockets of these sponsors to build or acquire property. And when an institution is delivering a million, 10 million, $100 million to a deal, they have a lot of leverage to be able to make decisions on how they deploy that capital. So they're going to be significantly more engaged in the process. They're going to actively find deals. They're going to actively work the deals with the GPs. They're going to try to figure out a solution that would work well for the investment firm, and then they'll make a decision quickly based off of whether they like the deal or not. Those institutions are now distracted by very attractive debt offerings. And what's happened is sponsors that were normally raising capital from institutions are now not getting the same level of attention that they once were. So they're turning to the retail individual to deploy capital into their investment opportunities with the thought process that the same logical value that they deliver to the institutional investor will be the reason why a retail investor will give them money. There's an inherent flaw in that thought process. Individuals don't have leverage to be able to decide what type of return they expect from a sponsor, choose the structure of the return that the sponsor gives them in terms of equity and waterfalls and all that sort of fun stuff. They have to take whatever the sponsor is giving them and purchase it like a product. Here's my $100,000 for my X number of shares based off of the pro forma and offering memorandum that you've delivered me. In order for someone, individual like me or you, to feel confident enough to open up their wallet to the tune of 50, 100, $200,000 at a time to a complete stranger, they need some form of affinity with the person that they're delivering capital to. And that's the biggest differentiator between the institutional dollar and the retail dollar. And in order for a sponsor to effectively generate that relationship with someone, they need to be in front of them. They need to actually communicate with them. They need to have experiences with that person. That person also needs to see that this is a legitimate operation that is delivering results for other people like them, and it's doing so consistently without them before they are willing to then say, okay, I want to join your investor community and also participate in that benefit. And I think that's what's really missing. And we see it across the board. We work with companies that are startups that are raising money for the first time, all the way up to publicly traded companies that are annually audited by one of the big four that raise billions of dollars. Across the board, we see that about 95% of these sponsors don't have a CRM, don't have a system, don't have a sales cycle, don't have consistent messaging, don't have consistent branding, don't have systems to be able to replicate a salesperson within their organization such that they can bring in a complete stranger into their business and make them effective within a few months in raising capital. And then on top of that, there's no real organization for all of the outreach that's going out because usually those workflows aren't built and those CRMs aren't leveraged to be able to do that outreach, even if they have one in their business.
I think most people would be surprised by that. I know it's true because I've seen it, but it is pretty wild raising that kind of money and not having a system in place.